I was wondering what injuries are the most preventable?
Well, you know, there are several that are preventable, and you know, I got a little bit of a list here, and one of them, the top of the list, is what we call tendonitis. We have muscles, we have tendons, we have ligaments. Tendonitis, itis just means inflammation, so tendonitis is an overuse injury. So sometimes people get started with an exercise program and they do too much too soon, and that causes irritation to the tendons, which basically could simply have been prevented by starting a little more slowly, building up to the frequency of exercises and the loads and so forth. So that's a very common cause of a preventable injury. Others are strained muscles. And a lot of times strained muscles happen, again, from some of the things we talked about: improper warm-up, inadequate, doing the exercise improperly, or too heavy a load. So those sorts of things can cause strained muscles. So proper technique, learning how to do it the right way, is very important. Some of the other specific areas are foot and ankle. I address that a little bit with footwear, because if we don't have a strong base of support with our shoes, we can have improper movement in the foot and ankle. And because that's the base, takes a lot of load if we're doing anything cardio-wise, a lot of impact and so forth. Kind of working up the line, and a lot of these are related to posture, whether it's the foot and ankle, the knee, low back, shoulder, neck. All of these have to do with that rounded posture that we talked about earlier. But another point is, this is why it's important to work with somebody competent. A lot of times we stress work with a trainer. We have that incorporated with memberships here because of the fact that many times people have muscle imbalances. They might be stronger in some areas of their body and weaker than others. And there are inherent kind of common muscle imbalances. Most people are stronger in the quads than the hamstrings, more in the biceps and the triceps. And so this makes a difference in people, how they tend to hold themselves, how they move, how effective they are in their movement patterns. I talked about with tracking before. Whenever we do squats, there's a standard stance with heels outside of the hips, feet slightly turned out, soft knees. We sink the hips back and down. If somebody has weak hips, they tend to track poorly and the knees come in. So if we see that as a trainer, I'm a trainer, I can address that and see if somebody has the strength, those abductor muscles, if they're strong enough to track the knees properly, or there needs to be some additional exercises put in place to help strengthen those muscles. So having some individual attention is really important, because nowadays, you know, a lot of students are active a lot earlier, working out a lot more with sports, and it does lead to injuries. A lot of times overuse injuries. It takes months and years to develop the body properly, and certain things are appropriate at different ages. And of course, the other things that, you know, near and dear to me, I'm a registered dietitian, what you eat matters a big deal. So proper nutrition, proper hydration, getting enough rest, because that's how exercise works. The recovery and the change in the body happens when you sleep. The exercise is the stimulus to that change, but then you need proper hydration, nutrition, and enough rest for the body to do the rebuilding portion. So sometimes what we see a lot is sometimes students are doing too much. They're racing around, they're getting not getting proper meals, they're not drinking enough water, they're pulled in a lot of directions between their academics and their sports, and their sleep is getting shortchanged as well. And that kind of stacks them up for some injuries, because what happens then too is attention goes down. And so when they're trying to do something, they just may not have the attention right there to think about everything they're doing, and that leads to trouble as well too, because you want to be aware of what you're doing when you're in any kind of athletic setting.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.